Hey everybody, how's it going? Dan Schinder here on Under the Influence with
Lou Calderola.
How's it going, everybody? Let us know where you're watching from. I'm in Globe, Arizona, which is 100 miles east of Phoenix, up in the mountains away from the commotion. And Lou is...
I'm in Brewster, New York. Oh, about an hour north of New York City.
There you go. We'd like to know where you are, where you're watching from. And we're excited about this episode 6 of Under the Influence because Lou and I closed out 2022 with some of our favorite finales, like endings to songs. We figured end of the year makes sense. So guess what we're doing today? Well, it's in the description, but we're doing intros, being that it's the intro of the year, our first episode of the year, and it's January. So what Lou and I talked about when we decided to do this episode is there's so many like really obvious ones. So you're not going to hear Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin because it's just a given. Like, of course, that's one of the greatest drum intros ever. And there's so many. There are so many. So Lou and I don't talk about what we're going to do. And I don't know what Lou's going to do till he sends me the clips to roll in. And then I can't help but peek because he tells me which order. And then I ask him, do you want to know which ones I'm doing or is it a surprise? He wants it to be a surprise. So we've each got 3. And we're going to start with one of Lou's. And we'd love for you folks to chime in with your favorite drum intros. If you've got a clip, go ahead and put a link to it in the comments as well. And you can always send it in. Any drumming videos that you do to drumtalktv.com, and up in the upper right is submit your videos. And you know what I'd like to get more of, Lou? I want people to send in videos of them giving us a tour of their kit. I don't care if it's a big, sloppy, messy kit like mine, or a 3-piece or 4-piece or a marching drum or a hand drum. Show us all the details of your djembe or a frame drum. Anything. Just give us some drum kit tours, right? Gear tours.
Yeah, I'm a gear geek myself. I'd love to see stuff like that. I love seeing all the amazing kits out there.
Yeah. So what's your first one? Tell us about it, and what do you like about it? How is it one of your influences?
So yeah, this one's got a fun little story behind it and why I chose this first. It's a tiny little short one, but as a kid, probably one of my biggest influences before getting into music, of all things, was monster movies. I loved monster movies as a kid, and one of the first songs that caught my attention, which we spoke about on an early episode, that got me drumming. You know, I always said Keith Moon was the first person that made me pick up sticks.
Right.
I love the song Boris the Spider because that was like about spiders and all. But I also, as a kid growing up, huge fan of the Monster Mash.
Really?
I loved the song The Monster Mash. It was just like you know, it was music, it was monsters. What could go? How do you lose?
And it's lighthearted. It's kind of a parody of itself in a way.
Exactly. And I mean, at that time, I'm probably, you know, I think when that came out, I'm only probably 5 or 6, I guess. So it was like, oh, this is awesome. All my favorite things.
That's great.
And it had that cool little intro, which until many years later, I did not even know. To me, as a kid, it was the Crypt Kicker 5. But you know, Mel Taylor from the Ventures played that cool little intro. So that was how I figured we'd start our intros show.
That's awesome. So here we go with the Monster Mash. I'm going to fly in I'm pulling up the show over here on this other computer, folks. I'm not watching cartoons, I promise. Okay, so here we go with Lou's Monster Mash intro. Here we go. There you go. Simple but groovy, man. Like you can't help but kind of move to that. Boom.
Right. Yeah, it was such an interesting piece. Had so many nice, you know, like all the little ghost notes and the bass drum syncopation he does in that. It's not just, you know, boom, chack, which he could have easily done for a little parody song. But there was like some real feel and thought into that intro, which I always admired.
That's cool. Now mine is even shorter, folks. And I decided, I was telling Lou this, and he doesn't know what it is, but he may recognize it. And I told Lou, don't say what it is, because the first Drum Talk TV fan that guesses correctly in the comments wins a Drum Talk TV shirt, as long as it's in a country that they ship to, our shirt company. There's a handful of countries they don't ship to, so hopefully this will be easy for shipping purposes. But see if you can get this, folks. It's so short that I play it twice, but there's no music to go with it. All right, here we go. Let me make sure I pull up the row. Here we go. Then we'll check comments.
Right, so this first one's really short. That's it. What song is that from? I'll do it again in case you missed it.
Here it goes again. All right, so the first person, and I intentionally didn't put the name of the song as the file name because if you notice when I pull this up, folks,
Right, so this first one's really
if I
short.
pause it, it says UTI, Under the Influence, episode 6, Dan 1. I didn't want Lou to be watching or anyone on another monitor and say, oh, that's the song. It's right there. Nah. I hid it. So Lou, were you able to hear it even?
A little bit, yeah, because I'm doing the same. I'm watching on another,
Okay.
To check in on it. But I keep the volume down, so it's not going to come through on our
Okay,
broadcast.
if you know what it is, don't say what it is, but do you know what it is?
I think I do.
Okay. So the first Drum Talk TV fan that guesses that during the live show, anytime during the show, wins a Drum Talk TV shirt of your choice. We've got 36 designs. I'm wearing one. And Lou's wearing one. And they're both true. You can always relax when the drummer is here and your band is only as good as your drummer. I love when guitar players actually get mad when we post that meme. It's hilarious. So give us some comments, folks. Let us know where you're watching from and if you have a favorite intro. And again, Lou and I are avoiding the most obvious ones. Probably the most obvious one has got to be Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin. I just thought of another one. When I was a kid and I was in junior high and I was in Tuesday night jazz band, everyone used to, like when we were setting up and warming up, everyone used to say, Dan, play the beginning of Hawaii Five-0, because that was on TV back then. And that's a great one. Funny story. A group of kids around my age at the time in high school. Actually, this was right after high school. There's one party house this one house we used to go to kind of party when the parents were out of town. And one of the guys, his father wrote that theme to Hawaii Five-0. Set them up for life, man. So what's your next one?
That is a cool. So coming into the next one, I figure as we'll lead into, like you were mentioning, just going to tag on to, we're going to avoid some of the obvious, rock and roll, big obvious one. I guess in a lot of the ones that I've been choosing, just I'm a little bit more of a hard rock guy. So a lot of the ones you guys notice I do on the episodes tend to be rock songs and hard rock stuff. Avoiding some of the real obvious, like rock and roll would have been also Hot for Teacher. We know that's one of, a classic, Over the Mountain, Painkiller.
I almost did Over the Mountain. I almost did that.
So many great ones. And then even, back in one of the early episodes, just as a general influence, I used 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover already. I wasn't going to use that one in here. So many other great ones. Unfortunately, we lost Jeff Beck recently, and you got like Lead Boots, a classic intro. Freeway Jam, a classic intro. There's
and
so
some
many great ones out there.
Great big band and swing stuff, too, from back in the day as well.
Yeah. So many. I mean, we're just been generally covering the genres that you and I love. But there's, we're limited to everything. And that's another thing, folks. Send us in some, even from other genres. It'd be so cool to see other ones.
And there's two that I thought you were going to do. So I avoided them because I thought you were going to do at least one or both. Lakeside Park. I expected that from you. And Digital Man. I love that one.
Okay, yeah.
That's such a great one.
Right. That is one of my favorites, and a nice little segue, because the second one I did choose, being, such a Rush fan myself, is I did, of course, want to get Neil Peart back in again. But when talking to a lot of my friends about some of the drum intros, there's always those classic ones where you think of the great fills and everything and these, ripping things. I was surprised, and not that I didn't like this one as well, but it was neat how many of my friends mentioned this next one that I picked because it's really just a groove.
Yeah.
And it's a great groove, and it's Neil grooving. So I chose "Animate" by Rush for the next one, and as opposed to like one with a classic big fill intro, this one's just him grooving and
And it's the way the
laying down
album
the beat.
opens too, which is
Yeah, which
awesome.
was really cool.
Yeah, I love that you did this one. Let's check this out. Here we go. Such a cool groove. So I have a question though, Lou. So
Yeah.
I froze it towards the end, and to the right of the screen, I see a lonely drum just sitting there by itself. Is like that drum in a timeout, or what's the deal? Why isn't the drum set?
I see what you mean. It's like, which drum does he mean? Oh, over there. Yeah, there are actually, there's you're catching one in the corner of the camera. There are 1, 2, I think there's about 6 more pieces to the Moondust kit that don't always get used.
Oh, I'd love to see that all set up next time.
So, I'll have to get that involved for something in one of the upcoming episodes, because I have a couple extra little treats and pieces that go along with that kit that just don't always get set up.
That's awesome. Speaking of gear tours, like we talked about earlier, that Moondust kit would be perfect. You could zoom in on the finish, what makes it Moondust, and all of that. I would love that.
I will absolutely. I am actually looking forward. I have it planned. The only thing here is what I'm waiting for is I wanted the warm weather to get a little warmer, because I have a great spot right outside to really get a good look at the moon dust and the effect that it has. So I want to get a nice video tour of that. Once up here in New York we get a little warmer at the end of the winter, I'm definitely going to be doing
awesome. That's great. Great groove on that. Couple comments here.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
Steven Schinder, associate producer of Drum Talk TV, says the tone is set pretty well from the start of Peter Gabriel's Game Without Frontiers. Jerry Murata on drums and percussion there. That's a good call. I didn't think of that one. Yeah. That's a really good one. Yeah. And then Marcel, Chris Dubé, how are you? I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. He says, yes, it's like blind on acid leading the blind. I'm not sure what he's referring to, but he is talking about, I don't know what that, trying to think back. I don't know exactly what he's referring to. Let us know. That was 6 minutes ago. The Weapon, that's a good one. If that's a guess for mine, that's not what that is though. But The Weapon, great Rush song, part of a series that was strung out amongst various albums, right? And then he mentions another great one I didn't think of, Straight Outta Line, Godsmack. Also,
some really great stuff there.
Thanks
for checking in, folks.
Yeah, I almost did One Little Victory. I love the beginning of that. That's a cool shuffly sort of thing. Yeah, but
I definitely was considering that as well when juggling through. Like, I'm gonna definitely do a Neil one again, but is it going to be that one? Yeah, that's a great one.
Well, I ended up doing a Neil one. So here's my Neil one, and just like yours, it's just a groove. There's really no fill at all. It's just a groove. I cycle through it twice. There's no music, so I'll sing the music the second time. Hopefully, I'll come in the right spot. And here we go. See if folks recognize this. I won't say what it is before we start. There you go. Armor and Sword. Love that song from Snakes and Arrows. Just a cool groove. And I love my Wuhan China. It's an 18 and it's a different tone than the one Sabian that Neil is using on the actual song, but I love mine's a little darker and crashier. I just love how it sounds with that groove. Really cool. Awesome.
Yeah. And that's Neil loved his a lot of the earlier albums. That classic ratty China sound on all the early Rush albums was Neil's Wuhan that he notably mentioned on the last couple albums had a crack in it, but he just used it until it didn't sound good anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks, keep the comments coming. Let us know if you have favorite intros that you'd love to play to or listen to, even if you're not a drummer. We've been mentioning some classic ones and a few off the wall ones. I love this next one by Lou. When I watched the video, it's spot on. Talk about this next one.
Thanks. Yeah, I had, one of the big rockin' ones, growing up. This one is one of the ones that always comes up when any musicians talk about, hey, what's a great drummer intro? This is usually one of the ones that comes up pretty quickly. And it's just like we were talking before, some intros are just the groove, some intros are this great drum lick. This one was that great drum lick. And I did thank you for mentioning the accuracy of it. I did make sure that I looked up, there's a great video out there, folks, on YouTube of this drummer, Mr. Cozy Powell, sitting down, and someone must have been interviewing him at the kit and asked him to break this intro down. And he goes through it section by section.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, well, this will help when preparing for that. And
nice.
So Stargazer, Rainbow's Stargazer always comes up when we talk about drum intros. I was just sitting in my school the other day with a couple of the kids, and we're getting ready for a rehearsal. And I hear the drummer behind the kit just doing a little something. And I was like, oh, you've been listening to Little Rainbow, haven't you? And he was like, oh, you knew that was Stargazer? It's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I knew that one.
That's cool.
So, yeah, of course, Stargazer was my third choice for today.
Awesome. Let's dig it. Here we go, folks. Cool groove, too. Awesome. Great job on that. That's cool.
Thanks, Dan, so much.
Were those triplets or quads?
The beginning or the stuff during?
The beginning. On the is that both pedals?
It was, yeah. It looks, that was a quad. The way he seemed to explain that
on his double kick,
like a traditional quad.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. All right, so my last one is, one of my favorite ones. Oh, I meant to pull up a picture that would take too long to find right now, but one of my favorite ones. I got this album when I was it came out when I was 9 or 10. Machine Head, and I took my original Machine Head album to Ian Pace the first time I interviewed him in his hotel room, and there's a great picture of us where he's holding it open. He's got a huge smile on his face. The fact that I still had the original that I bought back then in 72.
That's cool.
Yeah, 3 or whatever that was. And Pictures of Home is such a great. It's got the triplet. And it's such a great pattern. It's one of my favorite intros. And I remember getting it when I was that young. And my cousin, who was 7 years older than me, was a drummer, keyboard player, and a singer. And he said, you've got to learn that. He says, if you can learn that, you can be in my band. Well, of course, I nailed it the third or fourth time. And I say, of course, only because I was so determined. I'm going to learn this effing thing. And I told him, and he said, well, you're 10. You can't be in my band. I said, but you said. So here's the funny thing. When I was 19, he ended up joining a band I was in. which was cool. A prog rock band called Opus One tore up the Sunset Strip in Hollywood for about 3 years, playing, gosh, just about everywhere. The Troubadour, Madame Wong's, all those places. So here we go with, pull up the right one. Is that it? Yes, here it is. Pictures of Home. Ian Pace. There you go.
That was sweet.
I just
That's such
love
a great
that.
intro. Great job. That was awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, I love that intro. And I'm playing the Remo color tones, which sound quite a bit different from his original Remo Emperors, the white coated heads, especially from back then, especially the way the drums were mic'd back then. So that the sound itself sonically is a bit different, but the rhythm and the pattern, I just love that. It's cool.
That was great.
So let's see if anyone guessed. I'll play my first one again. Whoever guesses this first, other than Lou, gets a Drum Talk TV shirt as long as you live somewhere where our company ships the shirts, which is pretty much all over the world. So here we go. Here it is. I'll play it 4 times. I play it twice in this clip. I'll play the clip twice. It's very short. Let's see who knows what this is.
Right, so this first one's really short. That's it.
One more time.
What song is that from? I'll do it again in case you missed it.
Okay, let's play it again. Someone guess. Lou and I will chit chat a little bit to see if anyone guesses, because you have to have guessed during the live. You know what? Maybe not. The first person to guess right, even on the archive, but hopefully someone will get it live.
Right, so this first one's really short. That's it. What song is that from? I'll do it again in case you missed it.
So I so badly want to sing the music that comes in after that, but of course that'll give it away. So I think I'll just let it ride and see who guesses it. I don't even want to say the band or the drummer or any groupies' names. So
Don't want to give it away.
yeah, exactly. So I was thinking, I told Lou before we went live, I said, these are so short and I had so much fun trying to think of and record. We should have done like 8 of these each, and we still could have done just like a half hour or an hour show. So what I'd like to do is bring this theme back a few times a year. So as we do the first episode into each quarter or each season, let's do another intro themed episode. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a great, because like we said, there's so much. I mean, we just named a couple of the classics. We featured a few, but then as we were mentioning too,
Fireball.
we've tended, right? That was another one. That was one that I was thinking about, but the only reason I didn't is because I really wanted to play. I wanted to try and get a little bit of a good bootleg intro to use a little bit of it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find one where the audio was enough where I could have done that. But yeah, we'll get, one of us will get that one on in the future for sure. That's such a great one.
Yeah.
And then, like also exploring some of the other genres and all, because, we're big rock fans.
Yeah, maybe we'll do one
so
where it's
tend
all
to,
just big band jazz drumming intros. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, something to expand, and folks too, give us your ideas as well. We love the themes. We stumbled upon the themes for the, first the show itself was a blast to do, and then we started doing the themes, which has been fun. So
Yeah.
anybody got ideas, something we should cover, give us a topic, send in some of your own to feature, some of your own to feature. That'd be great.
Yeah, send your own to feature by going to drumtalktv.com, and at the top right, there's a link that says video submissions. You can click on that. There's some tips, guidelines, rules. We got to have rules. After all, we're talking about drummers. Got to have rules. And there's a form to fill out, and then it goes through a vetting process, and then we'll schedule it. And you'll be on the same platform. It's our Facebook page, but we also put it on YouTube, subsequently also on Instagram and Vimeo, and on the largest music media platform as some of the biggest stars. So it's a neat opportunity. We'd love to see what you've got. You could drop links in the comments of this post as well, as long as it's relevant to drumming intros. Okay, cool.
And I gotta, since I'm still trying to figure out the device thing here, which is I don't know how to do on the side, I gotta at least say, hey, what's up, Ingo? Thanks for checking in.
Yeah,
Hope you were
absolutely.
well.
I was gonna say that too. Thanks, Ingo. Any closing words?
Looking forward to the next one.
Me too. And we haven't talked about a theme, but Lou and I will come up with something, or perhaps we'll get a great suggestion from one of our fans, which we would love. So thanks everybody for following what we do and for joining Lou Calderola and myself, Dan Schinder, here on Under the Influence, an original Drum Talk TV series. We'll be back February. What was
9th?
9th, February 9th.
I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. We'll promote it even earlier than this one. And we'll see you all soon. Happy drumming.